Exit algorithms. Scale smarter. Sell stronger.
Welcome to Exit Algorithms, the podcast where we decode what it really takes to unlock growth, streamline operations, and prepare your business for a high-value exit. I'm your host, Pete Vera, and today I'm excited to bring on John S. Smith Jr. He's a registered nurse turned serial entrepreneur, certified exit planning advisor, keynote speaker, and founder of Prestige Healthcare Resources. John, super excited to have you here. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm excited. Thank you for having me here.
Absolutely, yeah. I love your background. Do you mind sharing with the listeners, who haven't heard of you, some of your journey and venture into business?
Yeah, thank you for that. I started my career as a registered nurse, because I've always been close to the patient and also been a frontline reality of care, right? And over time, I moved to leadership, and then I realized that there's a lot of challenges, changes that's happening in healthcare. That there's not clinic, it's not a clinical issue, but the problem is operational. So that kind of pushed me to executive role. Then I began to focus on performance improvement, scaling teams, stabilizing organization. Then eventually I began to make a shift into entrepreneurship. So in 2009, that's actually when we actually started healthcare resources, because you don't want to be a solution, right? Not just a money problem, right? Problem is then how do we find a solution that works for the patient, for the population. So my journey has just been about bridging the clinical insight with business execution, right? Clinical is different, business is different, but how do you bridge that execution? So that's where I bring it to play. And now I'm laying AI on top of that, right, to drive the next evolution of healthcare.
Yeah, wow, that's exciting. Yeah, can you talk a bit more about Prestige Healthcare? Who do you serve, and maybe what was some of the hardest parts of scaling your business?
Yeah, so Perceive Care Resources is we initially when we started, right? So it's a continuous journey. As you know, as an entrepreneur, you have this passion, you start from somewhere, and you discover over time what that thing that you can do, right? So initially when we started as home care company. We provide home care services for elderly population. Then from there, we now move to reduce staffing, medical staffing for different companies. Then we begin to realize where can we solve the most problem, right? How can we bring a system and structure in place? So in 2018, then we begin to diversify into the mental health, behavioral health services. So our main focus population has been those who are underserved, those who are homeless, those who need support in the community, specifically the Medicaid population.
Got it. Yeah. And yeah, were there any challenges, growing that business? How was that process?
It's been very, very challenging to say the least, because if you don't have the playbook in terms of how that will work, then it becomes more challenging. Especially if you are in a small business, medium market organization, right? You don't have that playbook or secret sauce that all these big enterprise company has. So everything we did, we had to start from the scratch. So I remember when we started in 2009. Actually, it's funny because I used to work in a hospital setting. The last hospital job that I had was working as an OR, operating nurse, right? We used to do a lot of surgical procedure and everything. I resigned from that position, got home, and told my wife that, look, I resigned, I'm no longer working. So like, are you out of your mind? I said, I don't know, I just want to focus on something different. He said, okay, I hope you know what you're doing. I said, I hope so too, right? But she supported me all through that time. So we just two staff, employees, started a business in 2-bedroom condo, right? Then from there, we grew the business from that 2 employee in 2009 to at this time we have more than 300 employees, and then we have about 2 or 3 locations right? But along the line, to your point, it's not an easy journey because you have to learn a system, you have to learn a structure, you have to learn how to deal with people. And as a nurse, clinicians, we don't learn that in the nursing school. So all those things I learned that along the line as we're building. It's like you are flying the plane, you build at the same time, right? So that's basically how we've been doing it. So it's challenging like any other businesses, but it's very, very rewarding because when you begin to see the impact that it's making the community and the population, then it ought to work all the effort.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. Yeah, I imagine you have to have some meaning in your work to, withstand that grind. And I'm sure sleep hasn't been a priority in those growing years either.
Yeah, of course you have a lot of sleepless now. Not really, I sleep about 3 or 4 hours in the day. Like I went to bed at 12 midnight today. I've been up since 3:30 this morning. Unfortunately, that's difficult.
It's impressive. And I see you're really into fitness also. Very, you keep your body and your health front and center. What does your regimen look like around that?
Good question. So every day I'm up at 4:30, right? Like today I wake up a little bit earlier, but 4:30 every morning. Then 5 o'clock I'm at the gym. 5 o'clock. So I work out from 5 o'clock to 6:15, 6:30, and then I head home, right? So that's what I do almost every day. Then that's Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Then Tuesday, Thursday, I do a lot of cardio. Yeah, on the weekend I do a lot of stretches, and then I do cardio as well, depending on what is going on. Then every month I go for 3 hiking trips every month, right? So my goal for this year to do 30 hiking trips. So that's pretty much my workout wellness regimen because what good is the body? What good are you if you have all these things that you don't have a body to use it, right? So I drink my own medicine, right? And I'm the consumer of my own solution or what I preach, right? So that's pretty much it.
Yeah, man, that's really impressive. And I love that philosophy too. And you're advising people. You're taking your own advice as well.
Yep.
Man, that's awesome. Yeah, and you said you layer in AI in your healthcare business. Do you mind elaborating a little bit on that? How are you leveraging AI?
AI has been around for the past 2 years. So for the past 2-3 years, we've been kind of hearing about AI. AI, what does that look like? I wasn't really like pay attention to that. I think we need to start pay attention to this now because like everything is like solution driven, and solution that we're experiencing now, you have to incorporate AI to some of the solution. So today we are using AI to reduce admin burden, right? Because if you are in healthcare, there's a lot of administrative burden that is in there that sometimes it can be stressful. And 93% of healthcare provider reported a burnout, right? Reported a burnout. So because of that, we have to really incorporate AI into what we are doing. And also, we also use AI to streamline our workflow as well. Because in healthcare, it's a lot of multiple workflow, right? And also, it's a lot of decision making that has to be done. So we use that to really kind of leverage that. So we also like a documentation support, right? Workflow automation, operational insight, right? So that we're creating a real impact. So we're using AI in those areas, so we can see exactly what is happening tomorrow, in the future, and we need to be ahead of that. So a few weeks ago, I was tagged that okay, I'm going to be an AI evangelist in the healthcare space, right? So I'm going to be the evangelist, really talking about AI. Because healthcare is always the last industry to adopt technology, but this time we shouldn't be the last to adopt technology. We should be the one at the forefront of it. For every human, every citizen of this country touches healthcare. So why should we be the last one to adopt technology? That is the problem. The solution we bring it to the mainstream so that people can know that we should not be the one afraid of AI. We should be at forefront of that, provide education so that we can get a better outcome.
Yeah, 100% agree. I think people don't necessarily think of AI as, in the healthcare space as like one of the first things to do. But if it makes your operations so much more efficient, why wouldn't you implement it? Prevent burnout.
Yep.
Where do you see it, affecting your industry the most in, moving forward?
What we have the biggest issue we have right now in the industry is the adoption, right? That's the main thing. The adoption of AI is the main thing that we're looking at that really challenges. And to really address these challenges, you need somebody in the healthcare space who can speak the language to really talk to the staff, clinicians, physicians, social workers, therapists on the benefit of utilizing AI, right? Especially when it comes to, for instance, authorization, for instance, right? It's a lot of admin body that goes into authorization for patients before you can provide the services for the patient, right? With the help of AI, there's a lot of repetitive tasks that could be automated where it can help their staff to focus on what's most important and spend more time with patients than admin body.
Yeah. It makes a ton of sense. I imagine too, your background coming from the kind of the clinical side of the business probably helps you a lot as you grow and enter the business side as well, knowing where to automate or what processes are most ripe for AI automation.
As a healthcare expertise, right, or specialist, right? So it gives me a pattern recognition that I cannot fake, right? So I understand what is happening on the floor, right? So when I make a business decision, they are grounded in reality, not just a spreadsheet, right? It also builds credibility, right? Because clinicians trust leaders who have been in their shoes, right? And most of these vendors, they are not clinicians, they sell products. I mean, that's not no offense to them, but I'm just saying that is something sometimes difficult for staff to resonate with them, right? So that trust is what translates into better execution, stronger team, and ultimately a better outcome. Because now I can speak their language, I know exactly what they're going through, and I can really relate to them and help them to really improve their operation and processes.
I saw you're a CEPA or Certified Exit Planning Advisor. When you consult with businesses, what are some things you recommend, to get their business in order to implement?
Right. That actually focus on AI specifically that addressing this need for the business owners, not just in healthcare, but business owners as a whole, right? I call it your lifestyle navigator. That's the name of my company, your lifestyle navigator. So I founded a company 3 years ago, and we have so many company providers or business owners, right? They run businesses, but instead of running business is running them, right? They don't have a lifestyle. They don't live life in the way that they can have the freedom they want it, right? So I'm like, everything's all about lifestyle. And if you don't really have a lifestyle and you are running a business, guess what you got? You got a job. That's what you got. You got a job. So what buyers are looking for when they see the business is three things. They're looking for predictable revenue, strong leadership, and system that does not depend on the owner. What most owners get wrong is you build a job, not a business. What does that mean? It means that every relationship, every decision, every operation is surrounded around them, right? And when you do that, that kills scalability and also evaluation, right? Because if I'm buying a company everything depends on you, and you want to exit. So what am I buying?
A job.
Nothing, right? So, and also some of them also underestimate the importance of clean financial and operational data, right? So, for buyers, you want clarity and confidence, not chaos. I learned this the hard way, myself personally, because we acquired a business about 2 or 3 years ago. Doesn't have a very strong leadership stuff. We acquired the business and we had to put a lot of effort just to get the business going. It took us almost a year and a half just to get the business stabilized. What if that business already had a system in place, leadership in place? Then it's more like a plug and play, right? So I learned a lot from that, and I'm like, no, if you don't have a strong leadership, you need to have your bench. So imagine you go at a basketball, right? Because this is how I coach some of these companies, right? Why do you think a basketball team has somebody on reserve? So in case someone got injured, right? So they can get what? Replacement. In case somebody got hurt, they can have what? Someone to take place of them. So if they have that at a basketball, how much more a business that you have? You don't have a bench, you don't have a replacement, you don't have anyone to take your place, right? So I learned to understand that if you don't have a bench, you need to start looking for bench. Look for a bench. If you don't have that, you will never be attractive, right? The business has to be attractive, right, for a buyer to come in and give you a better valuation.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. That's a great analogy. You say AI also is part of that a bit, right? How does that play in?
So good question. So right now, this is the perfect time for any business owner to systematize and automate their business. Because this is even much easier than it used to be before, right? I can sit right now and write an operating SOP, right, for a workflow from a company in less than 2 minutes right now with the help of AI. I can write a business plan with marketing strategy in less than 3 minutes by the help of AI, right? Had a webinar last week with a group of people, about 70 people in the real estate company, and I showed them on how I can actually do a social media campaign. I showed them in real life, right? We log in, screenshot. I showed them in less than 3 minutes, marketing campaign, calendar, script, and everything, just like that. So before, it takes you a long time. You have to look for marketing agency, you have to look for all those things. I'm saying that to say that if you are a business owner and you are not leveraging AI to optimize your business, to have a system and process in place, you are doing yourself a disservice. Because what people buy is a company that has a system and process in place, so that things can be predictable, and then they can increase your value. But the more system and process you have in place, it increases the value. Yeah, you can have a good returns, you can have a great EBITDA, but if you don't have that system and structure in place, nobody's going to look at you.
Yeah. Wow. But really powerful. Man, thank you so much for sharing all this wisdom today, John. At the end, I always force my guests, if they could narrow all of their knowledge into one recommendation for a business trying to scale and plan a successful exit, what would that be?
You start building your business like you are going to sell it today, even if you are not ready yet. So that means that you have to document processes, you build your leadership team, right? Clean out your financial, reduce dependency on yourself. So the earlier you start doing this, the more options you get, and you increase the value of your business, and you create the downline. That is most important. And all in all, it gives you freedom that you wanted. or to build a generational wealth through that. So most people, they don't know that the business is that gateway, is that tools that help you to build generational wealth so that you can focus on something else as you get older and you can help yourself in the future.
Thank you, John. Man, great conversation today. I loved it. Got a lot out of it myself. Where can listeners learn about you, find more?
You can go to yourlifestylenavigator.com, yourlifestylenavigator.com, right? So that is where we actually doing a lot of coaching, a lot of AI optimization when it comes to enhancing your business with AI. I have a program they call Nest, right? So Nest program is actually focusing a lot of. We also have a lot of truth assessment that you can do in less than 3 minutes, and that can kind of actually show exactly where your business is and what you need to optimize in your business.
Great. Yeah, sounds like a really valuable tool. I'll definitely leave that in the show notes. It'll be easy to find you. I'll leave your socials as well in case they want to see you get motivated by your workouts. Yeah. Thanks for your time today, John. Great talking to you.
Same here. Take care.
Exit algorithms. Scale smarter. Sell stronger.